eyeshadows that are perfect for Valentine's Day coming up in a couple of days. If you have any of these shades, this is your sign to pull them out. I did predominantly go for pinks and reds, the stereotypical Valentine's Day theme. I could have pulled some more purpley shades, but I really just wanted to go for it. And there is a mix of some more opaque shades as well as some darker shades, etc. And some of these I was sent in PR and some of them I purchased. And I do have affiliate codes with some of the brands. Those will be in the description box, so let's get right into it. These are in no particular order. First up is Holo Back Girl from Touch of Glam Beauty. This has a pink reflex straight on with lots of hollow sparkles throughout it. It is a little bit on the sheer side, and I just knew I needed a holographic eyeshadow in here. Valentine's Day, but make it disco. And this shade is very smooth and definitely can be built up or can be a little bit more sheer, so I'm going to just build it up. You can see the pink straight on. It has just a little bit of a teal base to it, and then it shifts to yellow to almost like neon lime green. Next shade is also from Touch of Glam Beauty. This one is one of the formulas from Color Me Multi, so it's in a square pan, and this is called A Deeper Connection. And so this is a darker red, and it does have a larger particle size, but it does smooth out very nicely. It almost has a little bit of a black base to it, just a little bit, and this one can definitely be quite opaque. And it's not like a true red or a true dark burgundy. It's got a little bit of brightness to it, which is why I picked it. It's just a little bit more of an interesting kind of amped up red. So I would say it's leaning a little bit more pink, especially in the reflex. And it shifts to orange to gold to green. Next shade is Superstar, and this one is from ShineBySD. It's part of their Fantasy 2.0 collection, and this one's definitely quite flaky. And this one looks like it's almost yellow with a pink reflect to it, but I do find the yellow base is a little bit less apparent, but definitely can be built up a little bit. But this one is a great sheerer shadow, and it does smooth out, but of course it needs a little bit of that pressure. And it's super high shine. It feels really nice and soft. It just looks like molten metal basically. And so you can see the pink is a little bit leaning purple, and then there's green and gold and orange and yellow. It is such an interesting shade. I feel like this one would just really amp up a really neutral look. Just put this all over the lid, a matte brown in the crease and maybe on the outer corner, and this would just layer so nicely. And it's like ultra shifty too. Next shade is Scroll. This is an electric multi-chrome from Clionadh Cosmetic. And so this one is maybe a little bit unconventional for Valentine's Day. So as you can see, it is leaning orange. It's kind of like a salmon pink, I guess I would best describe it. This one's pretty opaque, very shiny, and very smooth. And it's got a little bit of a lighter peach reflex straight on. And then you can really see the orange base, which also kind of looks like that's what it's shifting to, which maybe it's got a little bit of a yellow shift going on, but I think that the base really takes over on an angle. Next shade is also from Clionadh. This is a glitter vibrant multi-chrome, and this is Baroness. And this is just your true baby pink, super cutesy kind of shade, very smooth and also very metallic. This one is such a beauty. It's got a bit of vibrancy to the pink, but also a little bit of subtleness. It really depends on the lighting, because the way I'm seeing it reflecting in a mirror, it looks super almost neon bright pink, but in my viewfinder it looks a little bit less, and it does have a shift to a yellow, almost leaning a little bit green on a really harsh angle. I do think this one could be maybe sheared out a little bit if you were to just tap it very gently. I knew I wanted to include an iridescent, and I feel like I have a lot of iridescents that look kind of similar, so it's kind of like if I recommend one, I would also recommend the same shade from other brands. So the one I chose is Radar from ShineBySD, and this is their iridescent multi-chrome. I don't have a lot of theirs, but I feel like this one is a standout because I think that this one is just so ultra punchy and very vibrant, and it's very high shine at the same time. So this is a bright, like super bright orange, almost leaning slightly red depending on the lighting. It does look like it has a little bit of teal in there, but in a base it doesn't really have it. I think it's the way the particles are and the way that they're catching the light. They look almost teal, but it is ultra shifty and so beautiful. It's so shiny. It feels really smooth and exquisite, and it shifts to yellow gold. Next shade is Salvatore. This is from Devinah. This is pretty new to my collection. I really wanted to include this one in here because it is a fully opaque shadow. It doesn't have a lot of shine, but the finish on it, it's still beautiful. It's like a little bit more of an amped up satin shade. And it does lean more magenta than like a true red. And this one doesn't have a shift to it, but you can see how pigmented it is. I thought this one would be a great addition in here because it is so different from all the other shades. And it just has a little bit of that brightness in the way that it shines and the sheen. Next shade is Admirer, and this is from Glam Cosmetics. This is a diamond metallic eyeshadow. I believe this comes in one of their quads. And this is just ultra sparkly. It's smooth, but it's also, you can see so much sparkliness to it. It does have a slightly thicker texture to it. And it is fully opaque. There isn't a shift in there, but I do see the brightness is really brought out with some of the kind of silvery flecks throughout it. So it has a brightness to it while being a really beautiful mulled wine, but maybe like a mid-tone mulled wine, if that makes sense. It's got such a beautiful, unique tone to it. The 9th shade is Ripple in Time from Terra Cosmetics, and this one is a multi-chrome, so it does have quite a bit going on, and this is just such an ultra smooth and sparkly shade. I feel like this one truly feels exquisite in texture as well. This one is for anyone who really wants to have fun for their makeup look for Valentine's Day. Because, I mean, look at that. It is so dimensional. So it has a pretty bright pink base to it. And it has blue and light pink flecks throughout it. And I see it flashing purple, blue, and even a little bit of green. It's just so dimensional. Here's a little bit of a close-up so you can get a better idea on all the different sparkles throughout it. And I mean, it is just the finest sparkle, just that twinkle. I think this one would be just amazing with some pink mattes. And the last shade is Halley's Comet, and this is from Terra Moons. And this one I think has a different texture from the previous shade. It's got a little bit of a more piecey pigment to it. Again, ultra smooth, but it's a little bit less opaque, a little bit more buildable. And this is a baby pink with a blue reflect to it. And I mean, the shine on this, so beautiful. This one is also just a bit more of a funner type of shadow. I also see a little bit of an ultraviolet shift happening in there. So it's got the aqua blue. Maybe depending on the lighting, it can kind of lean a little bit greenish. And then you can see the pink base to it. However, the pink base now doesn't look so much as like a almost vibrant baby pink like it does in the pan. But it does almost lean maybe a little bit, I want to say kind of orangey. And the texture on this, I'm telling you, it's ultra piecey, ultra sparkly. Here's what it looks like on my finger after swatching it. It is such a beautiful shadow and pigment texture. So those are my 10 single eyeshadows for Valentine's Day recommendations. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite Valentine's Day eyeshadows are from your collection. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.